I call to order this meeting at 6:02. Roll call. Desiree Pirval, present. Estela Rodriguez. Angie Reyes, present. Adrian Zapata,
Present.
Cynthia Mares, present. Juan Caballero,
Present.
Priscilla Pantoja.
Present.
Okay, so we need 4. So the next item will be the minutes. I'm not sure if you guys received it through email, and it's on the packet as well.
We can take a few minutes to review.
I make a motion we pass the minutes for they're from 2022. The funds have been allotted. They're routine claims.
Second the motion. I was there.
Okay, motion passed. Citizen comments. Citizens are required to fill out a witness card no later than 6:15 p.m. and can be found at 1301 Broadway Street, 3rd floor conference. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No more than 3 persons will be allowed to speak on any side of the issue. Speakers may not pass their minutes to any other speaker. Comments should be relevant to city business and delivered in professional manner. No derogatory remarks will be permitted. Is there any comments?
Not to say.
Okay, so the following item is no action. So I just wanted to present what we presented to the nonprofits with the new policy and how the whole process from the beginning to right now. So it's a presentation that's up in the monitor, so I'll go ahead and present it. So the introduction, this Community Development Department, Tina Martinez is director. She's not present, but we do have Marcela Cervantes, our assistant director, and then myself, Dario Ramos, and Edgar Campos, compliance manager, who couldn't make it, but if I'm not here, you can always call Edgar, he'll know. And then we have from finance, the purchasing division, Margarita Bosques. So the application process from this fiscal year, 2025-2026, the first publication was on February 16, 2025. The application opened on February 17, 2025, and the second publication was on February 23, 2025. So the publications were noticed in the LMT ad. And then we had the training on February 27, which is a presentation right now that we gave. The applications were due on March 20th, 2025. And for the consideration, the scores have to be 70 or higher based on the historical narrative, needs statement, program service provided, goals, objectives, and measures, budget, and partnership. So some did submit through the IBIT system, and some did go to city secretary to turn it in by hand delivery. So this is the website for the IBIT system. So Margarita will go ahead and present that once we get to the first under the action items. So the overview is a purpose to address social problems, promote community development, help raise standard of living, and the funding will be from general fund. The funding consideration is the 501c3 nonprofit status, and they must meet one of the following 3. Support education, promote economic development, and promote health and welfare. So through third-party funding contracts, recommendations amounts are provided during the budget process, which is the recommendation from the committee we take it to council during budget season. Once approved by City Council, a consideration letter is sent out to the nonprofits. Contract awarded at City Council October 2025. Advise the nonprofit divisions of change in executive director, board chair, or contract. This is just, we advise them to change if there's any change in the board or any change within the nonprofit of director, executive director, or staff. The term of the contract is from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. Change orders must be submitted in writing for approval. Contract amendments must be in writing, approved by City Council, and signed by both parties. So this is just a report when they submit the request. So this is a reimbursement basis, so they have to spend the money first before we reimburse them. So we have a first, second, and third, and fourth quarter. And each quarter, they submit invoices, receipts, insurance, reports as well, so we can give them a reimbursement. And this is always on the 15th of every quarter. So this is the scoring criteria. So through the general application is 20 points. And then the certifications are as follows, which is the 1 million active liability insurance, the articles of incorporation, constitutional bylaws, the approved minutes of the most recent meeting, the IRS 501, Charter of Secretary of State, Certificate of Mandatory Training. And then for 5 points is the historical narrative. The needs statement is 20 points. And they must also include the board of director roster, staff roster, and annual report.
I have a question, real quick. If they fail to comply with any of those, which are very crucial, for example, your $1 million active liability insurance, doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have it, but it could be a possibility. At the time that we are judging the applications and they don't have evidence of that, then are they still going to be allowed to come through as an application that is in progress? And number two, the deduction process comes in?
So you can deduct the points because they don't have the insurance, but if they don't submit an insurance and they do get awarded, we won't be able to execute the contract.
Okay.
And the list of program and services are 10 points. The goals and objectives are 30 points. The partnerships are 5 points. The revenues and expenditure budget is 10 points. They must also include the current purchasing policy and procedures, most recent annual audit review or financial statement, and the IRS Form 990. And this, we did change the guidelines for our general fund, so we do have a new policy. So I included this one because the most important are the section that says allowable expenses must be for the program service purposes and shall only include equipment necessary for program execution, salary benefits of up to 25% for employee involved in a qualifying program, insurance costs tied to program delivery, utilities associated with program facilities, transportation costs essential for program activities, program supplies such as food, trophies, medication, and vouchers. So I just gave an example of how the budget should look. And then the goals and objectives should be they should be filled out. And these are the new changes to the general fund program. The funding criteria is not to exceed 3 consecutive years. A year must pass before they can reapply for funding. The reason is for the city to assist a broader range of nonprofits. The application process is the same, it does not change. So for those 3 consecutive years, they have to reapply, but they have to stop for 1 year, and then they can do like the following year again.
Does the list provided have been filtered for that, or we still make the determination at this level?
For the 3 consecutive years?
Yes.
So it's about to start. So with the 2025-2026 fiscal year, it's gonna be year 1.
Okay, not counting
No,
previous.
it's not counting the previous one.
Because this is new, it's just getting
Yes, so
implemented.
this one just got approved in January 28, 2025, this year. And the maximum for one single nonprofit will be $25,000 per fiscal year. The eligible program and expenses will be the economic development, health and welfare environment, and education. The salaries, benefits up to 25%. The equipment necessary for the program, insurance costs tied to the program, utilities, transportation, and the program operating supplies. And then we have the match requirement. Match volunteer grant requirement for every $1,000 that they receive, they will get 10 hours. So now, for example, If they get the 25,000, then they have to provide 250 hours of volunteer services within its community events, such as like the Sister City or like the One That Heals or any like the Night Owl, anything that's involved that city to give back to the community. So
Has
that's
this
one thing.
Has this been effective in the past, or is this something new
This
as
is
well?
something new.
Oh, something new.
This is something new. Yes.
So $70,000 at 10 hours.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Wow.
I saw that.
That's good.
Nonprofits must submit a complete application to the city volunteer coordinator to participate in the program. An individual volunteer may donate hours to participating organization of their choice. So if a student wants to come and volunteer, they can donate their hours to the nonprofit. So they don't have to be specifically tied to the nonprofit. Hours must be tracked on the City of Laredo volunteer hours log. So both the city staff and the volunteer must sign the document. Nonprofits are responsible for ensuring all volunteer hours are currently logged, documented, and submitted to the city volunteer coordinator. And then all the hours must be verified by city staff.
Is there a particular group of entity that the volunteers will get credit for their services? Or does it have to be within that same organization? I know you said they can transfer the credit, but let's say I'm in an organization and I'm called Laredo One, and I've got volunteers. Do they have to just be volunteers for my entity? I understand it's transferable, but sometimes there are other entities where they get credit for school and they get their volunteer hours as well. Can they volunteer to one of those and transfer that to the entities that applied?
We've discussed it with legal, and they said that we could, but it all depends on our policy. So our policy doesn't specifically say that they can be duplicated, but we'll have to double check on that.
But it has to be city events. It can be doing it for the agency.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, right.
And the application and permit requirements for waivers. Nonprofit seeking waiver of city expenses must complete and submit all relevant applications and permits for city services. Waiver does not eliminate the application process. The waiver coverage, city will directly pay for the cost of approved city services. So this is a new program that we're trying to implement. So for example, if they need a street closure, they can just submit the application and they do the volunteer hours. So for every hour is valued $25. So for example, if they want a street closure, the nonprofit can come and volunteer, and then they can get that fee waived. So they don't have to pay out of pocket or pay from the nonprofit.
And this is for the third-party funding?
Yeah,
So this is not a state criteria, this is a local criteria?
yeah, this is general fund.
Okay.
Now, do they have the whole year to do these volunteer hours, or do they have to be done by a certain month?
For the match,
It's a requirement.
so for the match, we are requesting for them to submit the hours with each request. So for example, if they want to get reimbursed $1,000, so they have to submit the $10 hours with the first quarter, and then with the second quarter, so it has to match whatever they're requesting, it has to match with the volunteer hours.
Do you have a list of fees that, like, let's say you talked about street closure right now. How much would a street closure cost?
Like 200?
I will have to check approximately.
Like 200.
So you do have a list of those fees that they're kind of set already?
I don't have a list, but I can ask for one, because it's a lot of departments that have different kind of,
Cause I could see like them, I could see things like changing, right? Like one day a street's gonna be, closing a street's gonna be $200, and then another day it's gonna be $500, depending on who's making the decision on that.
Is that,
so those are, I think they're.
We should have set fees.
That's what I'm asking.
No, there's
I was
set
hoping-
fees.
But the applicants already have that information, because they know what to expect, don't they?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's already in the app.
No, there is a set fee for.
Is there a list of city events that they would be eligible to participate in already, or was that given to them, or is that?
So right now, I don't have a list because every department have different events.
Okay.
But when they need volunteers, they'll reach out, and that's when I can reach out to the nonprofits.
And as far as the events go, so how many hours, let's just say you have the Sister City Festival, how many hours, I mean, has it already been determined how many hours they would receive credit for that specific event? Or would it, I mean, I don't know how many hours each event is it gonna be based on, you
How
know?
many hours do like be there from 1 to 3 is 2
Well, and
hours?
that's what I'm saying, like, are we based on, is it gonna be based on the hours of the event, or like the setting up and then the cleaning up? I mean, I don't know, I'm just.
So for every volunteer, they have to like clock in and clock out. So for example, for the sister cities, a day, I think it's like 8 to 9 hours a day.
Okay.
So if a nonprofit takes 5 volunteers, they basically do like 30 hours in one weekend. But it all depends on the nonprofit, but it is an hour per hour, like it's not like they come for an hour and then we give them like 2 hours, yeah.
And would they, I mean, okay, so the hours that they'd be able to volunteer is while the event is happening, or would they be able to volunteer for the setting up and for the cleaning up, or just the hours of the event?
When they get there and they clock in, that's when it starts.
Regardless of whether.
Regardless of what they're doing, regardless of,
So
if
they
they're
would,
setting
so
up
in
or they're.
essence, they would be able to be there for the setting up and stay afterwards for the cleaning?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's wild.
The mopping and the sweeping, too, why not?
And so the volunteer hours may be applied towards the waiver reduction of specific city fees, such as facility rental fees, equipment use fees, and other related expenses. However, hours cannot be applied towards city staff costs, janitorial cleaning fees, damage and cleaning deposits. And this is just the eligibility, that they have to be part of the nonprofit for the Civic Engagement and Rewards Program. And that's it. So I can send this PowerPoint to everyone if you just wanna go back and view it. But this is just like a little summary of the whole policy.
At the end of the day, as the committee is concerned, we just focus on the application process, right? All that is gonna be handled by the department itself, right?
Well, and I think you pretty much already got ahead of the game, because I was looking at the assessment by city staff on each of the entities. And I think it was great that you had already assessed what was missing, what was not missing. And I thought that gives us so much time to just focus on what they have, and I already know that we can deduct points with what they don't have. Because there was some that Priscilla and I were talking about in other places, other cities, that would not be accepted. But Laredo was very kind and, good vibes, and they want to allow those applications, and we totally understand.
On that note, I'm sorry, you're done.
I'm done.
On that note, I know that the deadline was in March, right?
March 20th.
So throughout these, 2-3 months, did they have an opportunity to complete those applications, or do they even know that they're incomplete?
They might not know, but I can't contact them and let them know that it's incomplete. So
Oh, okay.
we do give them it opened February 17th and it closed in March 20th. So they have like a month to do all the paperwork, and but I can't reach out and let them know.
Can they come and check in before the deadline? Like if they would have come the week before and inquired, like, is my application complete? Would you have been able to provide that information or no?
Because through the EBIT system is closed, so I can't view the application. And then when they go hand deliver it at City Hall, it has to be sealed. So I can't open it until after the deadline.
And here's my thing with that. The majority of them, it's not the first time they apply. You have only one new applicant. And so that one new applicant, maybe even Mercy Ministries, which is the one that has a question mark. No, not even Mercy, because there'd be 7. they should already know this because they're not new at this. They've been applying year after year. And I think the stipulations are the same as to what they have to provide. So do they get a copy of the scorecard? Do they get a copy of what they scored? They do not, never know what they scored. So they don't even know that they were incomplete and that's why they lost points.
They've never asked for the scores, so I wouldn't know if they're interested since they get funded unless I'm thinking that if they don't get the funding, they'll probably come back and ask for the scores.
Yeah, that's when they'll ask.
But
When they'll get the
I was
money.
gonna say, we should, but as we move forward, I think that we should, as a courtesy, send them a letter letting them know, thank you for applying. Unfortunately, you did not, and these are the points that you missed, so next year they can be aware and make sure that they do that. I really would like to
One or two, right,
recommend that.
that had-
There's actually, look at all the comments. There's all those people that did not comply. They're missing one thing or another. Obviously, some of them are not gonna be effective, but some of them are. So that would be my recommendation. But whoever did this assessment, thank you and congratulations, because that was not easy.
no, the hard part is for you guys to read the needs statement, the
That's gonna be the fun
narrative.
part.
I was just like scanning through it just so I can make sure that what you were asking me was there, but,
But the interesting part is, they're gonna be, they're asking for 184,000 more than we can actually allot.
Right,
So 184,000 is already a cut that's gonna be made.
big time.
In addition to the qualifiers and do they qualify on the essence and the definition of the qualifications. So that's gonna be fun.
I guess the fun part for them would be figuring out who's gonna do the volunteer hour. Because in this case, it's just,
I think it's great.
I think it's getting better.
yeah.
Whoever pitched this, I mean, this is a great
This is great.
addition to
I love it.
And, it's giving and giving.
I have a recommendation. I do know that previously in the comment, it was made that you all had to meet and distribute the funds, and the funds were distributed in total, that's what I saw. According to the state of Texas, the hotel motel funds and maybe the HOT do not have to be dispersed every year. They can carry over. So I wanted to ask if you could check with legal, because maybe Laredo has changed that, and I don't know how to say it, but locally, it can be altered and that can be changed. But as far as the state is concerned, you do not have to allot the funds. So if we don't have to allot the 480,000 or whatever it is that we're gonna have, if we don't see it fit. That's what I want clarification on, please.
And I think in the past, we didn't have a cap. We didn't have a cap, so
We didn't have a cap.
per entity.
Well, the 2022, you distributed to the team. The 580 that you had,
Well,
you
yeah,
distributed that, and I'm going like, but I mean, if you have it, you spend it. And if you don't spend it, you lose it. Not necessarily, but that's what we're gonna check, because you don't have to allot the funds. And if we can carry over, that would be great.
I do have a question. I did notice that one of the entities requested less than what they actually received. Is that a decision that is made? Well, I know ultimately city council, will decide to go with the recommendation or not. But I'm just curious to know if it's something that the committee is allowed to recommend, or is it something that was probably decided on or suggested at city council?
for when it lowered,
No, actually, so I'm looking at an entity here that requested 25,000 and they actually got 50,000 funded.
Under the general or in the hotel?
General.
Oh, okay.
Just for this year though.
or is it with the request and then what they're currently?
Funded, right?
Everything has a.
Okay.
So if you request more, it can only go to 20.
Yeah, so currently, when it would be the 24th.
Oh, so now they're requesting this. Okay, then I read it. I read it.
Which is interesting, because now they have a cap, 25,000 is all you're gonna get. But there's gonna be another question that I would like to address, and that will be, I'm gonna have to make it after the meeting, but it's going to be, well, I don't have to make it after the meeting. But the question was gonna be, if you're applying in the general fund, you're applying, some of them are applying in the hotel motel fund. To me, that's double dipping. You can say that it's for different events, but does it necessarily have to be a qualifier? Can we say, well, you can only apply in one and not the other? Because obviously we don't have that rule.
So this is completely up to the committee. Us as staff, we don't get in between the recommendations or the amounts or anything. This is up to the scoring and to you guys.
But I'm sure legal has already allowed it, because then they wouldn't be applying, right?
Of course.
Yes,
Well,
legal has already allowed it.
Moving forward to the future, points to remember, obviously.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is my first time serving on these things. Apologies, I'm lost.
That's why I'm asking you, because like this is the other,
But it's true.
common sense, legal already approved
Well,
it.
especially now that the council's looking to, reduce expenses and all. I would say like all these things need to definitely be taken into account.
The last question, and that was asked by Priscilla. Will our point system, our scoring be made public?
It's not public, it's just here.
Okay.
But
Internal.
anybody can log in.
It is public
and
records.
It is public records,
They can
but
request.
they can request, but we can't just slip, here you go.
Yeah, by the committee and by each committee member, or just by the committee as a whole, the scoring?
So during this process, you cannot say the scores or anything, but if they can log in, because they get posted the following day, so they can see the scoring.
But
And
they're not gonna see who scored what, or it's just gonna be the general points?
It's just the average.
Total points.
It's the average.
Okay, that's,
Oh, okay.
Average.
That's fair.
That's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
okay.
Okay, so then, should we continue? So the next one will be the introduction of committee members and staff, city staff. So I'm not sure if everybody wants to introduce themselves or if you guys already know each other.
I
Yeah,
know.
Ms. Flores, you want to go start?
We start with me, Cynthia Mares. I'm a business owner. I'm self-employed. It's Madison Associates. We're an accounting firm. And so I'm very happy to be here. I have partaken in this, but as a, participant in trying to, submit the funding. So I'm familiar with the process and how rules can change year to year. So, and I'm cognizant of a lot of other types of application systems and where you do the scoring and all. So I'm happy to be here and look forward to working with each and every one of you.
Hi, my name is Esther Fidova. I'm from Laredo. I'm also a business owner. I'm in the insurance industry. We're brokers. Been doing that since 2007. I've been with the third-party funding committee many years ago. I served in the Hotel Motel Association, and we were big liaisons with the Commission and Visitors Bureau with the state funding on the hotel motel, and we actually were the ones that initiated and got the voting to go through to have and implement a hotel motel tax. So that was exciting for us. And it's interesting, and we love dissecting and visiting all the entities that are applying for this, because I think it's going to be important to set the base. Let's go ahead and, which I love the new volunteer requirement, but let's go ahead and put it into perspective. Are you great that you're applying? Let's see how well you qualify and you're following the guidelines, and I think it's going to be interesting and fun, and getting a message to our community that if you are doing all these things, you definitely do get to take advantage of some funds that are going to be available to you to the hotel motel tax.
My name is Priscilla Pantoja. I'm the director at Laredo Motor Carriers Association. Prior to working at LMCA, I served at Webb County for 15 years. And overall, ever since high school, I've been extremely active with nonprofit organizations. So it's an honor really to have been appointed to this committee. I'm really excited to see that volunteer hours requirement. I think it's great for anybody to get involved with city events, and I think that that's one of the best things that this committee could bring forward, and I think it's gonna really make a difference in our community. So, nice to meet you all.
Welcome. Hi, everybody. Juan Caballero. I am an accountant by trade. I'm in private business right now, but before that, I was in public. So auditing nonprofits was my spiel for a very long time. A very long time. So I've been in this committee since 2022, and I don't know, I would like to thank city staff for allowing us, actually the capabilities that you put on top of the table for us to be able to, and the tools to do the determination. I would like to applaud that and greatly appreciate that. It makes our job way easier as committee members.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Angie Thayes. This is my 5th year serving on this committee. I used to be a teacher at Martin High School. Currently, I work for my husband. He runs a law firm. He's a lawyer, and help him at the office. My heart is with nonprofits. I really love serving my community. I know that there's a lot of need in our community, so this is really something that pulls at my heartstrings, because you see where the need is, and it's hard to make some of these choices, but it has to get done, and I'm honored to be selected to serve on this committee.
Yeah, cool. My name is Adrian Zapata. I'm a business developer and entrepreneur, mostly around the amputation prevention type of products and services and things like that, healthcare-wise. And also I have a small health insurance brokerage. I'm the immediate past chairman for the Laredo Chamber of Commerce and the chairman for the Chamber of Commerce Foundation, the 501c3 version of the chamber. And I am as active as possible with here in the city. So thank you.
My name is Margarita Bosques, and I work for the city. I've been for the city for 14 years already in finance, and right now I'm at purchasing. So I have 5-10 more years to go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcela Cervantes. I'm the Assistant Director for the Department of Community Development. I've worked for the same department for more than 14 years. So, welcome.
And I'm Dara Ramos. I'm the program coordinator here with Community Development. I oversee the volunteers, the nonprofits, and a small grant for homeless shelters. That's what I do here.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll continue with the
With the city bit, yeah. Has everybody tried to log in?
No, not yet, no.
No?
No.
Can we show from yours? You have your password and everything?
What?
Your password?
No.
No? You guys haven't signed in?
No.
Okay, I'm not gonna go through here. I think they have to do it through their email.
I went that far. I went that far.
That's it.
That's where I went.
If we did it last year, it should still be active, right?
It's the same thing, yeah.
Okay.
Let me try that, see if it'll.
How many applicants did you have? I mean, I saw this list, there was a list of the applicants that you provided us?
Yeah, you mentioned it, and then you do it, like you guys do it.
For the general fund. I mean, for the hotel motel. General fund. And then the hotel motels.
Okay, so it's because I really don't know how they're gonna see it, but, because since I'm the administrator on creating your evaluations, I don't know if you're gonna see it the way I see it. See, because right here is your team, and I'm able to see where you guys are at. So like Mr. Caballero here, well, actually, nobody has started yet. But let me see, if you go to Mr. Caballero, Then, okay, so maybe once you log in, if you need to log in your password again, we can reset your password or send you a temporary password and then you can log in and then create your password. But then, once you start, what's gonna happen, you guys are gonna get a notification to accept, and it's gonna give you the disclosure form in case if you didn't need to disclose anything. I believe they have the forms, you would need to disclose that. And then it'll take you to these pages where you'll have your scorings, and you will be able to see every vendor that submitted applications. I know that there's vendors that did do 2 applications, so since they can only submit once with 2 attachments, you're probably gonna see attachment for general and you're gonna see for hotel motel. So make sure that if you're on the hotel motel, click on the application that they have for general or hotel motel and the one and score those, because you're gonna see 2 different attachments on theirs.
So question, on back up a little bit. So, did we receive an email with our temporary password?
You should have, when I sent you an email, when I opened the invitation, you should have gotten an email.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was from Ion Wave.
Okay.
Yeah, Ion Wave City, yeah. And then if you need it again, I can always send you a reset right now and you can see it. You wanna try it? I can.
No, you know what, I think, is it, says sending the right invitation to school nonprofit entities?
There you go. Yes.
Right, okay, May 21st, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll reject it if you took long. So if
You
you.
know, send
Oh,
it.
is that a time?
Send it again.
I think so. I think, well, let me go back.
7 a.m.
I guess.
Send them all again.
Okay, Mr. Adrian, let me see if it's about that, so I'll just go to resend invite email.
Refresh graders.
And then you should be getting it.
No, I'm pretty good.
When it comes to technology.
Got it.
Yeah, okay. So it should give you a temporary password, correct?
I asked her, do you have paper copies of the
It
computer?
just gave, it just says ask, click here to access.
With them and on top of them.
Okay, yeah, click right
Trees
there.
would kill them.
Yeah.
And then go to your feed. And then it should give you.
It would be a treat per person, I'm sure.
And you just ask for that.
Oh, actually, you click right now, sorry.
That's a book, about a book, 2 books of all the applicants.
I can't see what
We
they're.
used to get paper copies, you know, and we used to review them at school. And when I asked everybody to show our paper copies, I went, maybe not. No, I understood.
Yes, yes. Okay, so now from here, let's say you're gonna start with the first one, right, the Area Health Education Center. So you're gonna click on that, and then it's gonna give you this scoring sheet. See, I don't know if, and then this is where you're gonna put, see, I can't see it like you guys.
On our side, you just click on it,
Right.
it gives you the option to score.
Because I'm an administrator, so I can't.
When is the deadline?
The deadline, it'll show it to you right here, which will be on, which we put it on, for closes, okay, that was the application. Okay, so this is what you're guys are gonna get, too, it says evaluators must agree the terms. And the instruction. Right here, see, you have until 6:30 at 5 p.m. And then it'll close, and it'll give you, I set you guys up for 3 days prior, it'll give you an alert saying, you know what, you have 2 more days to complete it. So, but in case if you guys need more time and they allow it, they'll tell me to go in, give you more time, and you'll get that email.
So can we just ask you a question as we're looking at that? Do we as a group get together and discuss the points, or we score individually?
You score individually.
Individually.
Yes, I think you can see it here, so if you go to border and admit,
It's one of the,
That's even better.
it's part of the agenda.
That's even better. I was gonna have to bring my lunch back.
Yeah, it's not gonna let me score it. Somebody would have to go in through their profile. Do you want to try, Mr. Zapata?
Yeah, sure.
June 30th, that's next week.
What does it mean, June
Let me
30th?
figure out, what my login was.
On the
Oh,
screen, it
that's-
says June 30th.
That cannot
Yeah.
be.
June 30th, yes.
Did they not extend the general fund
I thought
deadline?
this is your June 3rd. or June 30th?
The scores.
The scores.
Yeah.
30th, yeah.
The 30th.
But here you have two
I mean,
standards.
it says June 3rd.
June
No, it is June 3rd.
It's June
It's because we need to get them, we need to get, we do have a budget workshop by the end of June, so we need to get those scores before.
No,
Yeah, so next Wednesday, so cancel your
This
trip
is
to
a-
Vegas. And
This isn't proposed,
So we need, still leave it at
oh
3rd?
my God.
No, we
I
wanted
thought that
to.
was
We're
kind
gonna have
of
to change it?
revised.
Oh. Let me change it now.
no, we're gonna discuss it like this.
Okay, perfect.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, just send me the email. Were you able to like it?
Let me try.
I mean, this is my next chance. Oh my God.
It takes several hours.
It takes a lot
days.
days.
So, yeah,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
give yourself
Sure.
like plenty of time.
Since 9 hours. We used to document the hours, and we would let our city council members know. I just want you to know that.
I haven't slept for 3 days then.
Yeah, that's true.
Just got my username.
We have to get out of the office and shut down our business, let our people run it, and then charge them for it, right? That's gonna
I
be.
think it's your email. I think it's your email. I think it's so. I think so. Let me try.
once I did it over a weekend.
But it has to be right, Saturday or Sunday.
9 hours, 9 hours?
Yeah.
And that's me sitting with a checklist of things I wanted to make sure that I review.
You know what, and I told Dara, I already started, and everything is on paper, but
No.
for the general fund, I have not started, I only did the hotel motel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the,
I know a
Did it
password.
backwards.
very easy
Copy
one.
it to your email, do it through your email. Maybe you would have to.
But the general funds are easy too, in the sense that all you can do is allot 25,000, you know, if they do qualify.
But the score, so the scoring
Sorry,
is
just
due
I
on the
can't see what you
third.
guys see.
We later have to determine the amount, right?
Yes, so
It's two
for-
separate.
So I had a proposed, timeline, it can change, but we do need the recommendation amounts for the last week of June, but we do have to submit the amounts to budget before, so that's the only thing.
The amounts that we recommend, and then you tally or what? You
Yes,
just,
so, for example, for this one, it was gonna be, our proposed day will be June 3rd, which is a day before the proposed next meeting, it's on next week. So I can just get the average and then we can do general fund the next meeting. And then the following meeting, we can do hotel motel, or we can do it the other way around.
even though the deadlines are clear, June 3rd, general fund, June 10th, hotel motel.
So
Yeah, we can do it, so we can do one meeting and then the other one with the other meeting.
Probably has to
Because
be
you
last
already
session.
did it.
Well,
13 versus 25 applicants.
Okay.
That's why I would say, I would recommend that we move, if everybody's in agreement, reverse, do hotel
That does
motel
make
on the
sense.
3rd.
I mean, because you're looking at big packets.
Okay, so this is gonna be your terms and conditions right here, so this is the first thing that you're gonna see, which is on, it will be, I guess, your, term of, no, I'm sorry, terms and conditions, I'm sorry, I'm approaching, it's terms of evaluation. Okay, so, and then you must agree, the terms to continue, sign, and agree, and then you go all the way down here, and then you put your whole name, and then you go ahead and hit agree. And then you go ahead and put continue, agree, continue. There you go.
And I discussed it with my
See,
sponsor.
you're already finished.
And I told him, listen, this is what I recommend for you feel. And we're gonna have the amounts
Give you-
for the hotel motel. So I'm.
Okay, so now you're gonna go to your scoring.
Go over budget.
since you're active, and then you start your scoring.
Oh, okay.
So see, this is gonna be your first, your area, which is Area Health Education and Center, so you click on it, and it'll start giving you all the documents. There's no need for printing them out, there's just everything explanatory.
Okay.
This first page, you guys can, it's what our system generates, it's telling you when they had to submit it and everything. But their application would be on the bid attachments right here. A response documents, that's where their application starts. So that would be theirs.
So I bring it down to 10. They're pretty good.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, where's their application?
Where it says area health?
I at least went that far.
And that's just one page.
Oh, there we go, that's so,
Yeah, so it's, in response attachments, so you'll see everything.
And I started.
You could download it, see it bigger if you want,
4
but,
hours at the office.
I mean, I don't know if you want to download all the stuff, because it's gonna be a lot.
Conference call with the
Just from there you go, and then once you review it, you go to enter criteria, and then this is where you start entering your numbers. Right there. And then you have able to, put the score, let's say you score 5, and then you put your comments, and then you save it, go back, and then it's back and forth, back and forth.
Okay, and, okay, score that's for general application, so is there a certain amount of points you want us to take off for?
It's only gonna allow you to go from 0 to 20,
Gotcha.
because that's as high as that one is scoring. Yeah. That's why we closed it at 20 right here, so.
And then everybody has to come up with their own criteria, as far as taking out 5 points for
Right,
this.
that's what I was asking.
The criteria is always gonna be the same. Everybody's the same, it's just on your notes, that's where you can put, okay, so I'm gonna deduct so many points because of this.
Like they're missing the signature or
Correct.
something like
Yeah.
that.
And I'm sorry, I've lost you, so do we have that criteria somewhere?
The criteria is that one,
Right there.
the historical,
Yeah.
right here, the historical and needs. So that's, this is
The
are the
one to
points.
deduct, it's up to you.
Yeah.
So if you feel like they deserve to get deducted 3 points, they would just deduct 3 points.
And really
It's
don't
all
have
according
to, or.
They do give us a criteria, they do have their own opinion, applications,
So this is, I need that scoring.
There's really no
See?
scoring.
I got it.
Score, and then the next. So let's say for general application, you wanna score them a 10 because they forgot some paperwork on the historical.
And it shows here which paperwork that they needed to have, right, someone here, yeah?
well, it's already been assessed. They already did their work.
I'll tell you in the comment section.
Yes, so thank God for that.
But if you wanna put extra comments, you can do it there. And it'll generate it when we do the tabulation.
Where do you review the application? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, this
Is
is,
that an achievement?
okay, so,
Click over there.
once you,
So it's over here.
yes, once you were at home, you were supposed to get, you're gonna get the evaluators from us disclosed or anything, and you just agree to it. And right here in the bottom, he signed his name, and then he put agree, and then he just put continue. Once he put continue, it'll tell you that you're active already, and then that's where you go to the next tab, which will be your scoring. And this is where you're gonna start scoring your vendors, right here.
Okay, then
See,
you click.
so it'll be your suppliers. These are the suppliers for general fund. I think we're in general fund.
Yeah.
Yes, we're in
And
general.
I'm guessing that it's, it'll save as you go, right? Like I don't have to do them all in one.
Just make sure that you save,
Yeah.
because if you don't save, it won't save it. See, so you click on the first one, you evaluate them, you go.
So if you
like-
commit to one, you commit to
So you just enter your score. Once you enter your score for the first one, it's for the application, then you press save, and then you go to the next.
And then you need to submit at the end.
And then you have to
I
submit.
forgot that part one year.
So I think it'd be a good idea to do it on your own first.
And then go in there.
You came there to review
It's
it.
not-
Yes.
So once you go in there, like let's say I wanna go in there and review.
Well, no, you don't, you can review, write it down in your notes, and then go back there and add them, because you'll have the, see right here, we'll have the.
Change your score
See?
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not like
Okay.
So you can't change.
Exactly, until you submit the whole thing, that's when it locks.
When I tell you you're missing
Yes.
something on this foundation. okay.
Yes, I've had persons who leave it open and it's on process, it's on progress, and I can't tabulate it because they did not complete it.
I think I can't remember, but the progress, the little bar, it fills up, right?
It goes, that's why we know where you guys are at, because it starts, yeah. But yeah, you can review them all and then go back there and score them, and then you can go back in here or go back, oh, look at that one.
As long as you save it, so you can save each one individually and then submit at the end. Okay.
And also, if there's a conflict of interest between a nonprofit, you're part of the board, or you're involved with one of the nonprofits, we do need a form that's the recusal or.
Recusal form.
Yes. So for that one, you just put 0, but we just won't average it within the whole committee.
And I do need one.
Yeah.
So, where would,
I'll just print out some right now.
thank you.
But of course, if anything, you guys can always I can't tell you what to put, but I can navigate you.
40 applications, because an hour an application is 40 hours long. Better spend 10 minutes on each. We cannot spend an hour on an application because of 40 hours. That's one week.
You have to camp out.
And then I'm gonna remove you from here.
I'd say we all, in compensation, would be given a cruise somewhere.
I like to bring that to the table. I second the motion. I really yes. Totally.
For the general one.
I saw them both.
What's it like? It's not kind of a head start.
It's just paper-wise, saves from printing.
Next. Can we reverse them? I mean, guys, are you in agreement? I would like to suggest that we reverse hotel motel for June the 10th and June the 3rd, and the general fund for June the 10th.
Put a motion for that?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion.
Would you like to make a motion to move that item
Reverse them.
up? That's on.
So which one is first?
Go down
To put the general fund, to put the hotel motel first and the general fund second.
Okay.
And reverse it.
We have to move the item up.
This is the one that's due, right? Like, for our
Our deadline,
Right.
yeah, our deadline, June 3rd, 5 PM and June 10th.
Because you're talking about 13 applications versus 25 applications. Are we good? Do we,
Do you have to motion to move the item first, and then we can.
can we ask for the vote?
I second.
Can we ask for the vote? All in favor?
To move the item? Okay.
Okay, so now, you would like to move the general fund to June the 10th?
Yes.
And then hotel motel to June the 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. And how about the dates? Are you fine with the dates of the proposed meetings?
Evaluation of scores and amounts recommended, that would be the evaluation only on the hotel motel.
Yes.
Yeah. Are we good with that?
I don't think we have much.
I mean, we're kind of running out of time. Continuation of scores and amounts recommended, and then June the 17th final process meeting. We have until June the 30th. Maybe we could get a break in between that if everybody felt that that was needed.
The thing is, they have to
It's
do
the
it.
budget workshop.
When do you have to try to look at?
A week before the last week of June.
So we still have 7 days. We still have 7 days to play with. How does everybody feel? If everybody feels that those are workable, then those are workable. But if we can move something for the 7 days, maybe if the final process meeting,
Maybe we can decide.
do it for June the 20-something.
I think maybe we can decide that after we've had several meetings, just to see our progress. I mean, I don't know.
Just for point of discussion, if we meet on the 4th to discuss the hotel, and then on the 11th, we're discussing the general fund, and then the following, just by nature of how things pan out, we would meet to discuss the amount portion. And I don't think that's been scheduled.
So it's on the amounts recommended, so for the 4th, it will be.
So we will just
evaluation
combine
scores.
the.
Yes, so I'll just
both.
average, that's what I needed by the 3rd, so I can do it a day before and then on the day of the of the meeting. I already have those scores. And then we can do the recommendation. I mean, you guys can do the
And
recommendation.
it's 25 by entity or 25 by fund?
By nonprofit.
By nonprofit. So if they're on both sides, we
So,
allocate 10
Hotel
and
Motel, we
15.
don't have a cap. It's
Okay.
only
Yeah,
general.
yeah, according to, they're separated, you don't, right now it's separated, doesn't affect it. But my question is, so we're meeting every Thursday?
No, it's just for the process,
Okay.
the application process, and then until next year.
Just got here.
So, and then also the reason that I put it this way is in case we don't need quorum, like I can add
Gotcha.
another meeting.
Gotcha.
So it's just to be on the safe side. That's why I put it like a week apart.
You order the shot? Are we all over the shot now?
She's probably like, where did I get myself
You need a motion.
Yes. So motion to approve the template with the changes?
Yes, we seconded it already, we got the votes.
Yes, we don't, we don't
The vote
to
on
move up
the
the item.
We voted up there, we voted to move up the
Move up
item.
the item and then.
Okay, I motion
To move it up in the agenda, but now we have to vote on the selection of the
Oh,
dates.
okay, I'm ahead of it.
I motion to approve the timeline as set by the.
Sorry, the changes.
June 3rd and June 10th.
Any second?
Second?
Second.
Okay. So the introduction of general fund and hotel motel applications. Award Olympics is asking for 130,000. It's for sporting event expense that sustainability increase economic activity at hotels. The funding will be, the funds will be used to promote different water Olympic events using every form of communication, social media, visits to schools, print, radio, magazine, TV, internet. I'm sorry, this is not the one.
Is it okay if I step up this time?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright. Excuse me, if you guys need anything, Ms. Arroyo, we give you my number. Excuse me. Oh, the benediction.
Yes, oh.
She said, don't call me, I'll call you.
No, you can call.
Are you resetting everybody's? passes?
Yes, you want me to send them tomorrow in the morning so we can have them?
Tomorrow,
Perfect.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Hello, sir.
Bye, Reggie. So what they're missing is the insurance doesn't mention who is a certificate holder, and the proposed market plan is missing. He did come yesterday, the board member saying that he did forget, and he brought in the documents, but I did advise him that we couldn't accept it since already past the deadline.
But they do have it.
But they do have this. Okay, and then it's Boys and Girls Club, they're asking for 20,000. They're currently receiving 10,000. Their application was incomplete. And it's for games between United States and Mexico held at the facility, sports and advertisement, Juegos de Amistad events. The minutes mentioning third-party funding application is missing. And the first page of the minutes is also missing. And the proposed marketing plan, it's also missing. So, and then Catholic Charity is asking for 15,000. They didn't apply last year, so that's why it's a zero. It was incomplete, and they wanted for catering and missionary expenses for the medical mission activity. They're missing the minutes mentioning their party funding not approved, the annual report, and the proposed marketing plan. The Laredo Center for the Arts is requesting 70,000, and they're currently receiving 57,000. 61% of the funds will be automatically be deducted from the total awarded to pay the city of Laredo rent on the space per month. The total of 108,600 is 10,000 a year. with typo. The remaining balance of the amount will be used for advertisement, staff payroll, utilities, and the daily gallery supplies.
So, I mean, we can't discuss this, right? We can't discuss it.
No.
Just look at, was thinking about what they pay the city.
The minutes mentioning third-party funding, application, and their certificate of mandatory training is missing. They didn't attend the training. Laredo Chamber of Commerce, they're asking for 35 and they're currently receiving 35. Their application was complete. It's to support the city of Laredo third-party funding, helps the program chance of the marketing and promotion of the contest. Funds are allocated to the Cola Blanca website, which has a section of places of interest and hotels, promotional materials that are distributed at expos, visitors, bags, and shirt items with the convention of the room, advertisement in various publications to attract the Mexico and the U.S. markets. Laredo Cultural District is currently receiving $24,500 and is asking for $12,500. Is to
Alright. They currently get 12,500, but they're asking for.
Oh yeah, you're right. I guess I can't see the top part. I'm sorry. Okay, they're receiving. They're requesting 24,500 and are currently receiving 12,500. Is to promote all cultural, artistic, and musical events in the first Friday Conecta and second Saturday market days and Casa Ortiz historical tours. The application has blanks. It's missing the annual report and marketing plan. The city is not a certificate holder of the insurance, and the certificate of elementary training is missing.
Is this the first time they apply?
No.
No. That's not. I should know that.
The next one is Laredo Heat Youth Soccer. They are requesting 50,000 and they're currently receiving 30,000. The primary for operating expenses of the youth club, such as the field rental fees, registration expenses, tournament fees, referee expenses, and games and field improvement expenses. There are also funding provided to us for the city of Laredo for players and team scholarships. To lower the burden of playing the sport the youngsters love to play. They're only missing the mandatory training certificate, but they did attend. I think they just forgot to include it with the application.
But how do they qualify under what they applied? I don't see anything there under the qualifiers for the hotel motel. I don't see it.
It's because it was too big, so
None of that qualifies.
Where are you looking to qualify?
What does it qualify for the hotel motel? Nothing.
What the qualifications, where are you looking for that?
You have the hotel motel clause, and that was provided to us. And it's pretty clear on what is required, especially hotel,
is it in the back? So it's a sporting event.
yeah, it should be here. Historic,
The sporting event expense.
I can provide you with it. It says, registration of delegates, the furnishing of facilities, personal materials for the registration of convention delegates or registrants. Now, number 2, actually, advertising, solicitation, and promotion that directly promotes tourism of the convention industry. I don't see any of that. Promotions of the arts and directly promote tourism in the hotel convention. I don't see any of that. And you can read further on.
Oh, I see it.
You see?
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, it's a great organization, but it doesn't qualify, in my opinion, based on the criteria for the hotel motel, and I'm disappointed that that was not,
Is that one of the factors that we just apply the score that we think is inappropriate? But to your point, I think it should have been one of those things that maybe not even included because it was not.
should be in the general fund, not in the hotel motel, so.
But, okay, so they do mention tournaments. Wouldn't I'm just assuming I haven't seen their application, but, are we saying that?
Like out-of-town teams coming in for
Yeah,
tournaments?
are we saying that they wouldn't qualify even if, let's just say, they would have tournaments and they would have outside teams coming in?
If you're familiar, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I'm familiar with the youth soccer teams.
I'm not, and that's what
And
I'm
they
saying.
do have day tournaments from surrounding cities, feeder cities,
Okay.
and they go back. It's usually city population. It's usually the kids from the city, but they do invite even some maybe from El Laredo, but they don't have heads and lips. If they did, it'll be in the file, and they should show that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, I haven't seen their application, but I'm just thinking that perhaps they did. And
Not enough, and I would venture to say, how many teams participated, how many heads and lips were there to qualify the amount that we asked for. It's a great event, but they would qualify this year on the city general fund.
Look at their application.
Hmm? Yeah,
I mean,
look at the application.
Yeah, application.
It's unfortunate.
Well, and actually, now that you brought up that point, I don't know if we can actually even discuss this right now. But it would be, like the qualifiers, for hotel motel.
Well, they were provided are they provided in the information on the application?
Yes.
If it's not there, then they don't support it.
Yeah, it's part of the application.
So if they-
So if they need to, do they need to, I guess that goes back to my point, I have not reviewed the application, but I would assume that in the application, they submitted, because it's required, something that shows that they did have heads in beds.
Yes, so it does submit a post-event report with every request and reimbursement.
And this
So
is
then
just
they do
a
qualify.
short little
Then they do qualify.
snippet. When you look at the application, they're gonna include
Okay.
a lot
Yeah.
more.
Yeah,
So then-
it's more in detail.
So then-
This is just a summary of the
They
main.
can be rejected until we go. The information might be there, but just to name it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so then, is that true? Is that true or not? I mean, like,
The application doesn't mean that it's all complete and they qualify, they're just submitted and we have to review.
You still have to review the application, yes.
so then it'll be up to us whether it
Yes,
qualifies
correct.
or not. Is there a specific quantity that we can say, okay, they do qualify or they do not qualify?
Right?
It's on the scores, so they have to meet the 70 points to be able to qualify for funding.
Which we award those points.
Yes.
Right.
As an average.
So it's really at our discretion individually.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Remember, you have a weekend to do it.
No, I know, but I just would hate to not, well, but I guess, yeah.
We can move the agenda.
It'll be based on
Executive score.
Okay, Laredo Main Street is requesting 30,000 and they are currently receiving 30,000. The funds will be used for marketing materials for the annual Jimbuzi Festival. They did not include the proposed marketing plan and most recent annual audit review or financial statement. Principal Cajantas, they are requesting 25,000 and they're currently receiving 15,000. The funds will be used for the February pageant stage, lighting, sound production, and multimedia services. Funds will also be used for judges' rooms and supplies needed for the 2025-26 Princess Pocahontas competition. The minutes submitted do not reflect the approval of third-party funding application.
See, there you go, there's an application. It says, do not reflect approval for third-party funding. Interesting.
TAMU Alumni Association is requesting 25,000 and they're currently receiving 20,000. It will be funding to cover the expenses for the Fall 2025 Milestone Mingle, Fall 25 Commencement Hospitality Room, Spring 2026 Milestone Mingle, and Spring 2026 Commencement Hospitality Room. The Form 990 is not complete. Document provided is not the insurance. The minutes submitted now reflect the approved for third-party funding application. The application has blanks, the articles of incorporation is missing, and the certificate of the mandatory training. The Society of Martha Washington are requesting $25,000 and they're currently receiving $25,000. It's for the colonial pageant and ball, and they did submit their application was complete. WBCA is requesting $75,000 and is currently receiving $75,000. Is to supplement revenues and further enable to increase, improve, and develop the marketing of the events, and thereby bringing more visitors and positive feedback to the region. Events will be the Jalapeno Festival, Parade, Air Show, Mr. South Texas Luncheon, and International Bridge Ceremony. The last one is Webb County Heritage Foundation. They requested $90,000 and they're currently receiving $90,000. Is to underwrite heritage tourism programming, which includes all activities at the Border Heritage Museum, the Republic of the Rio Grande Museum, the Historical Archives Research Center, and during dining under 7 Flags Restaurant Week. Heritage tourism expenses also include promotional activities like out-of-town mailouts and multimedia advertising. Funding will also be used to underwrite partial salaries for heritage tourism program and administration staff. This includes museum staff, tour guides, archive staff, and administrative staff. So the total for what they're requesting is $619,500. And this is what we're currently funding, the $534,500. But our budget is $450,000. So we have to fit those four, the recommendation has to fit the $450,000. Just with hotel motel.
And it can be less.
It can be, yes, it can be less. It doesn't have to be the $450,000. But that's the budget that they gave us for hotel motel.
So if someone if they don't reach where I guess they don't have enough points, and if they're requesting, for example, 50,000, do we make a recommendation on, they should get 30,000, or is that something? Yes, is that in the recommendation? Is that in the scoring thing?
It should be in the notes. I don't know if it's in the scoring thing. I didn't see that.
In the IBIT?
Yes.
No, it's not there. So
When we meet, that's when we're gonna
yes,
decide.
so the next meeting when you guys meet, you're gonna make a recommendation, somebody will say 30,000 and then everybody has to agree.
Gotcha.
Or
Everybody has to
keep it the same, yes.
Well, no, we can take a vote, right?
Yeah.
Or it has to be a unanimous.
She said everybody.
Usually everybody agrees, but I'm not sure, but I'll ask, yes. I'll ask you.
No.
Okay. General fund. So, with general fund, the first one is Area Health Education Center. They're requesting $85,000 and they're currently receiving $33,000. The use of funds is the Youth Health Service Corps, the 9th and 10th grade, training and preparing students to interact with the underserved population in healthcare settings in the community, grade 6 module curriculum, and numerous hands-on activities, emergency preparedness, homelessness, CPR, ADT training, ethical and legal issues, and health career exploration. The only thing that they're missing is the minutes not mentioning third-party funding of the application. Bethany House, they requested $50,000 and they're currently receiving $30,000. Is for the on-site daily meals, weekend shelter meals, homebound meals, street corner meals, special event meals, emergency food pantry, and other prepared meals. And they also are missing the minutes not mentioning third-party funding.
When they were requesting, did they know that there was going to be a $25,000 limit?
Yeah, and the presentation that I gave, that's the training that I give to all the nonprofits that went to the.
So they knew and they still requested that much.
Some of them are gonna go into MOUs, which means that they're gonna have an agreement with the city, so.
Boys and Girls Club of Laredo, they're requesting they're requesting 25,000 and they're currently receiving 50,000. Offer after school summer programs and sports programs and building maintenance for the nonprofit. And they're also missing the mention of the third party funding on their minutes.
Excuse me, which one would be?
It's right in front. Casa Misericordia, they requesting 20,700 and they're currently receiving 30,000. It's for counseling, assist victims of domestic violence, assess and plan for their safety and security needs, increase their awareness and knowledge of resources and address their mental health needs.
Are those invited?
I'm sorry?
Are those invited? They're currently getting funding 30 and they're asking for less, 23?
It's because the cap is 25, so that's why they went down, they went less than what they're receiving right now.
Not everybody wants
Yeah. They're missing the minutes mentioning their party funding and also the articles of incorporation. Catholic Charity, they're receiving 25,000 and, no, they're requesting 25,000 and they're receiving 20,000. It's for food pantry program, equipment, medical supplies, and to offset salaries. They're missing the minutes mentioning their party funding and the annual report. Children's Advocacy Center of Laredo, they're requesting 60,000 and they're currently receiving 50,000. It's for the Child Advocacy Program and salaries and MEP program. Minutes not reflect approval of their party funding application and IRS form is missing. They submitted last year's application and they just edited the top part. So there's like typos in the application. So you might see it differently from the current application. Okay, so Gateway City Pride Association, they requested 5,000 and they're receiving 5,000. Is for supplies for the Pride Parade and Festival. They're only missing the articles of incorporation. The Imaginarium, they're requesting 10,000 and they're receiving 10,000. Is for books for Project Read, materials for activities for Project Read, time and effort. And they're only missing the minutes mentioning their party funding. Okay, Kidney Foundation of Laredo, they're requesting 15,000 and they're currently receiving 15,000. It's for transportation expenses, assist with food, nutritional and vitamins for patients, assist patients with financial assistance, insurance premiums, medication and co-pays, and then plus administrative fees. They're missing the annual report of how the last fiscal funds were expensed and the certificate of mandatory training. And next one is Laredo Heat. They are requesting 25,000. They didn't apply last year. And it's to cover the insurance costs, utilities, and transportation costs for essential program activities. The signature on the application is missing and also the mandatory training certificate. The Laredo Main Street, they're requesting 90,000 and they're currently receiving 25. It's for payroll and operations of the nonprofit. Minutes are missing and the annual report of how last year funds were expensed. Laredo for Harmonic is requesting 25,000 and they're currently receiving 35,000 to partially cover the expense of the musicians that are brought into Laredo or supplement the orchestra. Minutes not reflect the approval of third-party funding application. Okay, and Laredo Regional Food Bank is requesting 30,000, is currently receiving 25,000. It's for emergency food assistance programs, provides free despensas or food boxes operation funding the continuation of the program. The minutes mentioning third-party funding not approved, annual report of how last year funds for expenses missing.
So good.
So Laredo Stroke Support is requesting 25,000 and is currently receiving 15,000. Is for art class, physical therapy and speech therapy for the clients. Minutes not reflect the approval of third-party funding application. Articles of incorporation, annual report of how last year funds were expensed is missing. Next is Laredo Tennis Association. They're requesting 25,000 and they're currently receiving 20,000. Is pay for partial salaries and operation for the programs they offer for junior adults and stroke survivors. The minutes mentioning third-party funding not approved. Annual report of how last year funds were expensed is missing.
Okay, the next one is Mercy Ministries of Laredo. They're requesting 21,000. They got awarded last year 21,000. Their application is complete. They're requesting for medication assistance program, provides patients with access to prescription medications. And it's missing the minutes mentioning the third-party funding that was not approved. The next one is the Mexican Culture Institute. They are requesting 15. They're currently receiving 15,000. Their application is not complete, and it's for the operational supplies of the Grito de Independencia. Their insurance is expired. Minutes do not reflect the approval. Didn't attend the mandatory training, and annual report is missing. The next one is Pets Alive. They're requesting 25,000. They got awarded last year $10,000. The application is not complete. They're requesting funds to provide vet care and assistance too. And then the insurance doesn't say 1 million. Minutes do not reflect approval. Didn't provide the 990 form. The next one is the Rio Grande International Study. They're requesting 25,000, currently receiving 12,500. Their application is complete. The reason for the request is for city funding would provide them with critical support for newly hired watershed science director to cover costs related to software mapping programs travel throughout the targeted, and for conducting interviews, printing, as well as professional fees to cover graphic design, videography, and media content. They are blanks on the application. Ruby Cal, they're requesting 200,000. They're currently being funded with $100,000. Their application was not complete. The reason for the request is to retain qualified licensed staff, such as a doctor of physical therapy, to care for wound care, pain management, physical therapy for patients. The first page of the application is missing. Minutes do not reflect the approval of third-party funding application. The next one, Sacred Heart Children's Home. They're requesting $15,000. They're currently getting funded $15,000. Their application is complete. Their request is for transportation expense for trips to doctor and dentist appointment, counseling, school, Saturday classes, after school activities, summer camps, emergency shopping, purchasing of items and food. Missing minutes mentioned third-party funding application. The next one is serving children and adults in need, which is SCAN. They're requesting $13,500. Currently funded is $13,500. Their application is not complete. The reason for the request is for programs salaries and for students taking action, several other programs such as the Youth Recovery Home Residential Treatment, Esperanza Youth, Serenidad Recovery Home, and the Adult Drug Treatment Program. What they're missing, minutes not mentioning the third-party application, purchasing policy and procedures, most recent annual audit, review and financial statement, IRS Form 990. Insurance is expired and the city is not the certificate holder. The next one is Smiles for Heaven. They're requesting $25,000. They're currently receiving $25,000. Their application is complete. The reason for the request is dedicated to promote child care, cancer awareness, assist children and families. What they're missing is budget needs to be more specific. Minutes reflecting approval for application. The next one is the South Texas Council. They're requesting $25,000. Currently, they're not being funded. Their application is complete, and there is to fund the Scout Reach program that targets minorities in rural and urban areas. Funding includes salaries, supplies, travel, and registration assistance. Their insurance was expired. The next one, volunteers serving the needy. They are requesting $15,000. They're currently receiving $15,000. Their application was not complete, and the reason for the request is to purchase groceries to direct distribution to Webb County, Texas military veterans and surviving spouses. The application was missing the articles of incorporation, annual report, and the IRS 994.
So our application is not complete, are we considering those?
We have those, that's what the question was earlier.
Right.
I mean, they really should not, they should, can we, my recommendation is to check with legal, or is that a city council mandate that even though their application is missing a lot of information, or even notes, does not reflect approval for third-party funding application, that they need to be entered and reviewed? Because this would cut out a lot.
Right, that would be making it easier.
You know, they're qualified applicants only.
I can check with legal.
I know if it was a competitive bidding situation, if the application is not complete, you get thrown
You
out.
get thrown out.
Would we have to, there's some item, I mean, yes, they're gonna go back and check with legal, but would we need to place an item on the agenda to have, I guess, staff, sorry, I don't wanna put all the work on you, but to notify them that their application is incomplete from this point forward? I know we can't go back, but.
We already requested them to notify them after the process.
But we have to vote on it. So that's what I'm saying, like, so in order for that to happen, would we need to place an item on the agenda for the next meeting so that we can have, like, that practice? Because, I mean, it doesn't help anybody if they never know that they were missing something and they continue to submit the application incomplete, like, where?
But you know where I see the problem? I see the problem is that number one, they're not being notified, we did request that earlier, but secondly, they're still getting funded. Even though they don't meet the criteria and they're not being approved, they're still getting funded. So that's why, you know, if you could please ask legal, because like you said, in most cases, they're thrown out. I mean, they're great entities in diversity, you know, but 8 years, someone will apply 8 years, and they're still getting funded.
And in some instances, it's fine if we consider, if they're missing a form, we can extend maybe a courtesy. Hey, you gave us the wrong form, we're not gonna automatically kick you out of the process.
Can we do that?
It seems that we are still being asked to evaluate even though they're missing a whole.
So then why make it a requirement, right, to have all this in the application if we're still gonna take
Exactly.
them?
You can make I'm sorry to interrupt, you can make recommendations for them to submit the missing information before they get awarded, but can reduce points for them and they can get less money because they were missing documentation.
Right, but we can also, like, make it a practice for the following year.
Yes, correct. We can
so that
add
they're
it.
notified. I mean, so we can have complete applications.
And for this process, you can be as harsh as you need to on the scoring.
Right.
So you want to start an agenda item for next meeting saying that for them to receive it that are the items that they were missing this year?
Right, I mean, because it's not that, it's not gonna make a difference this year, but at least for next year, you know, we won't run into this.
For the next cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving forward.
Third-party
Yeah.
funding application request.
Okay.
Because these people, for me, is, you've been receiving funds for 8 years, and you're still not doing it complete. When were they told that, we thank you for applying, unfortunately, your application was,
Right,
like,
like there's,
one of them had been denied.
right, and then there's some here that say, like, their report on what their expenses were made the year before is not included, like, how can we actually
We
support
can't,
them?
we can't, so
You know,
the question was based on our score, but we're forced to score them, and they're still getting funds, because that's what, there's
yeah.
I know.
contradiction.
Politics. But, you know, in all seriousness, when you look at this and you have an organization, I mean, somebody's gotta be held accountable and be responsible for it. So don't tell me that after 5 years of submitting, you didn't have the CEO or somebody at the head review that and make sure that your development officer, whoever's responsible for doing the application, you didn't sit there and review it and make sure. How can you submit something? To me, it's a waste of time of staff. They're vetting, yes, but it's a waste of time that, well, they're missing all the, they don't have insurance, or they're not, cosas más importantes than what you're saying, pero pues ni modo, está bueno, sí, pero put it on the list, that shouldn't be. And that's what they're doing, you're vetting, they don't, but ni modo, sorry, to the side. And then, because there's a lot more organizations that trust me, I know they're talking to my face, why would I apply? A los mismos les dan cada año, y para qué gaste mi tiempo. So that mindset has got, the mentality has got to change somewhere along the road. So we're not doing it now, let's do it for the future, if nothing else, but don't worry, that's what everybody feels, that's what I feel. The council knows, this can't go on like this anymore, we're trying to make change, we're trying to make change. I agree with you. Now, as much as it hurts, and we have Rupi Cow, which, great entity, they were awarded $100,000 last year. Obviously, the limit is $25,000, right? They were awarded $100,000 last year, and they're asking for $200,000, and they're still ministered on effect approval of the third-party funding application.
And sometimes they're copy and paste from last year.
And I think, I mean, we should bring an item back and that says incomplete applications will be discarded.
Rejected. I mean, that's what we used to do years ago. Yeah, years ago, we used to reject them. Being accepted.
For something, and we have one.
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you that, I'd like to know when this changed, because years ago, we rejected them. We rejected the applications. They were not entered. And then, I don't know when it changed. But I'm sorry, but it's ridiculous. It's like, what is this? Like, there's a seriousness behind all this.
No, and it's not really, I mean, it's not to penalize anybody, but we have to be, we have to hold every organization that's getting funding accountable. I mean, that's what I feel part of our job is.
You know what, I think we all do, and that's why we're going through all of this, because we're like, why are we doing this when they're not even complying? And we all agree, I think we all agree that in any other organization, and previously, they were not being accepted. When did that occur? I mean, we can ask legal, can you please tell us if this is mandatory? Because it's.
Or we score zero.
We score zero.
And you want to get rid of them or not.
As much as we like to.
For our job in the advisory committee, that's the best that we can do.
Ultimately, I mean, if
Zeros on everybody.
if they still
And everybody knows that nobody has it. They're gonna get the message.
Send a message to the council here as a comments on the recommendation. Do it on there.
To just.
So for next meeting, we won't be, I mean, we don't want to delay this, right? But we're not going to get back from legal, right, on this point? If we have to.
Well, that's quick, yes, we'll have a response for tomorrow.
She does an email.
Yes.
That says.
That's great.
Obviously, we can do that, we can do. It's okay. That's it.
So, the motion to introduction of the.
To adjourn?
We have one more.
One more.
Do we need a vote on bringing this forward to legal, or?
No, I don't think so, because it's not on the agenda.
It's not on this.
Yeah. Nine. Election of chair and vice chair.
I nominate Esther Finola for committee chair. I nominate you to be accepted.
Okay, so discussion with possible action for election committee chair and vice chair. Because it's recorded. Any nominations?
She already did one.
Yes, I nominate Ms. Esther Fidova to be committee chair.
Mr. Caballero, have you been chair before?
I'm in way too many chairs right now.
So no chair, Mr. Zapata? Ms.
Ms. Davis.
No, thanks. Davis? Would you be interested?
Yeah, I would be interested in
Chair.
either one. Whatever Ms. People wants. If you wanted to chair them, vice whatever.
If you're vice, I'll be chair. Yes?
Yeah.
Conditional.
Yeah.
And Ms. Vadas?
It's fine, I'm brand new here, so I will stay in the back.
Do we have to make a motion?
Yes.
So I motion Ms. Esther Fidova to be chair and Mr. Adrian Zapata to be vice chair of the committee.
Second.
Would you amend your motion to be by acclamation? No, we will not go by acclamation. Would you be amenable to amending your motion?
I amend my motion to
Elect them as chair, vice chair by acclamation?
elect them as chair and vice chair by acclamation.
Would you agree to that amendment, Mr.?
Second as amended.
I'm sorry, my parliamentary procedures. I'm parliamentarian and into organizations.
Can we nominate a parliamentarian?
Make a motion?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations.
And we already have our next date, right, for the meetings? June 3rd. June 4th.
June 4th.
June 4th, so June 3rd, we submit for, yes.
So that's 11th, 17th, right? That's our next meetings?
That's what I was on before, it's Thursday, very upcoming Thursday.
We have a Thursday.
Well,
Yes.
good question.
Wednesday, the 4th,
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes.
It's a Wednesday
It's a
from
Wednesday.
now on. Oh my goodness. I wanted to ask, what are the policies and rules on absence?
It has to
Ms.
be
Vaughn?
4.
Consecutive? Or
I think it's calendar. I'll get the ordinance for next meeting. I think it is a calendar.
So we're gonna miss the next three.
Well, I guess I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
Second, I second it. Madam Chair.
Okay, so 7:04.
Is that over?
Good thing we